Perspective on Florida Gateway College Television is sponsored by Nutrien. Nutrien, feeding the future.
Place. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Perspective. This is a public affairs presentation of Florida Gateway College. It's also a public affairs of WCJX Radio and WQHL. We're going to talk about I guess it's not new, but it's a way to exercise called CrossFit. And 1075 CrossFit is a place where you can do this. We're going to describe what it is for those of you like me who have no idea. We have SOMMER HOWELL, Jason LANGSTON, and Paul Allen, who are all involved in CrossFit, and they look in pretty good shape, so I think what they're doing may be working. We'll do that when we come back. Don't go away. You're watching Perspective on FGC TV. Welcome back to Perspective on Florida Gateway College Television. My guests all do CrossFit, and you may be asking yourself, what is CrossFit? SOMMER HOWELL, Jason LANGSTON, and Paul Allen all do it, and again, they look in great shape. So let's talk about it. It looks like it's effective, Summer. You kind of are an instructor in this, correct?
I am.
Let's talk about what it is, because I think the people at home may be used to working out with a Nautilus, or they may work with free weights, and that's all they know. Or cardio, if you're going to jog or run in place. But CrossFit does it all in a different way, right? Talk about it for you.
We do. So CrossFit, a typical CrossFit gym is not called a gym, it's a box. And that box doesn't have your typical equipment. You're not going to see a treadmill, you're not going to see an ab machine or any of those other types of equipment. We use barbells, kettlebells, maybe some slam balls and medicine balls and a rig. But other than that, everything that we do it's functionally based, and we do it with our bodies.
Well, I tell you what, let's look. We actually went to CrossFit 1075 and actually shot some video. So those are the medicine balls?
They are.
And are they heavy?
They range from 6 pounds to 30.
Okay, and then you got some smaller balls down there.
So those are slam balls. They're filled with sand.
Okay. And here we have there we go, 30. And so the weight is on there.
Correct.
So you know if you're getting that thrown at you.
Exactly.
You know what to expect.
What you're grabbing.
So so I guess those are some of the things that you use. I've seen these before.
Kettlebells.
Okay.
Lots of things that you can do with those.
Right.
We have rings as well. So there's a gymnastics aspect of CrossFit.
Okay, and we all know what a jumping jack is.
So this is a typical warm-up that we would start out with. We want to get our body temperature up, get everything nice and warm and moving so that we're prepared for the workout that we're going to do. That's
different. That is upside down.
Handstand push-up.
Those are pull-ups, not no normal kind of pull-ups.
So those were kipping. It's a modified version of a pull-up. You use it as a tool, essentially.
Okay. Now, again, some of these things, and that's different. For those of you on radio, this is very hard to describe, but you're seeing someone who's got their knees on a box and that is doing push-ups.
So a modified version of the handstand push-up that you saw. That's what's great about CrossFit, is that you can take somebody that has a group of people rather that have different skill sets, and they can all perform the same workout, because we modify that from an advanced skill set all the way down to novice people who even have trouble just with general functions. Everything we do is functionally based, and we can modify it to meet that person's particular needs.
Now, do you do this all in like a class? I mean, how is it done? Can you do an individual CrossFit, or?
It's in a group setting, so we have a class. It's a 1-hour class. We cap it at 12, so that it's more of a 1-on-12 with the instructor. And that way you have a warm-up, you have a skill or a strength, metabolic conditioning aspect of it, and then mobility. We do a lot of things of stretching and keeping our bodies well maintained.
Now, Jason, you look like you lifted weights most of your life.
Yes, sir.
You did bench press and stuff
Yes, sir.
like that, and you decided to kind of switch gears. What made you decide to?
I was always curious about it, and just had the opportunity. Luckily, SOMMER opened up this box here in Lake City, and I come from a wrestling background. I wrestled in high school, lifted weights in high school, and I wanted something that was going to challenge me a little bit more. I could go to the gym and lift weights and walk out of there and feel just fine, but after I get finished with a workout at CrossFit, I'm dead tired. I'm laying on the floor. I have no energy anymore, and it's just a different feeling. It reminds me of when I wrestled in high school and the feeling I got from the practices.
Well, so you're not just, because you, and correct me if I'm wrong, in weightlifting, you're working the same muscles every time. I mean, if you're doing a bench press, you're working your bicep muscles and your arms a certain way, but it's the same thing every time,
Yes, sir.
right? Same thing with your workout. Now, you did lower body as well, which maybe
Yes, sir.
squats
Yes, sir.
and things like that. What's different here? It seems like it's more cardio from what I've seen and from the video.
Well, it's not just cardio. I mean, it's like SOMMER said, we do the weightlifting, the gymnastics, the cardio. The thing I like about it the most is it's structured. I know it's already planned out for me, so I don't have to think about what I'm going to do. And that's my favorite part about it is I can just go in there and do the workout. The instructors help you with everything. And the cardio aspect of it is what I wasn't getting when I was lifting weights. And the combination of this, and it's cardio with weights. And that's what I like about it. It's not like I'm running down the road a couple miles or riding a bike. It's the weights, the different exercises that's combined into getting your cardio in with it.
How long does this workout take?
The classes are an hour, and we do a warm up, and then we'll do a skill, and then we'll do our Metcon at the end.
Okay. Now, Paul, you're older. You're like me. But what made you decide this was something that you might be interested in?
Well, it's challenging, but it's also structured. It's a class environment, and the other class members challenge you to do better and push yourself.
What do you mean by that? When you talk
Well,
other class members now, how big is your group?
Well, like SOMMER was saying, it goes up to 12 members, but typically it's around 6. When you see a woman next to you and she's doing more weight or more reps, then it motivates you to do more. You see a younger guy and you're older and you feel like you have something to prove, and it pushes you to do that much more and dig deeper. And by the end of the workout, like Jason was saying, you're exhausted. You're completely.
What were you doing before? What type? Were you just doing free weights and things like that before you decided to do this?
Well, I'm in the military, so basically I did push-ups, sit-ups, and run, so a cardio, and worked out in the gym periodically, but it never really motivated me or pushed me to, go as extreme as I do with CrossFit.
And Jason, you might want to. You said you weightlifted in high school and you were a wrestler in high school.
Yes, sir.
Do you get to plateaus when you're doing that type of workout to where that you can't take it to the next level? I mean, is that such a thing?
Well, I feel like I push myself till I can't do it anymore, and that's my goal, is to do as much as I can, as much weight as I can, the proper way, and just keep pushing myself every day. And if I reach that plateau, then I have to raise it, the next day or the next week.
Now, SOMMER, talk about, is this something that you can lose weight doing? Because I'm looking at what is, obviously you want to stay fit. You don't want to be in a sedentary lifestyle, especially if you work behind a desk all day. You want to be able to do something where you get some movement. Are there different goals for different people on what they want to accomplish by this?
Absolutely. You can definitely lose weight, you can gain mobility, you can gain strength. For some people, they can gain weight. I have clients that say, you know, I want to put on 20 pounds for football season. So it depends on what you're after, but it's more of being well balanced and living a healthier you. You get rid of maladies that you maybe even didn't realize that you'd been succumbed to.
Give me a for instance of something that you may. I know that we've had people on this program that have been overweight and they've gotten diabetes. Or is that sort of what you're talking about?
Absolutely. So, you know, it's a wellness. It's not just fitness. So we talk about eating healthy, eating right, making sure that you're intaking properly and providing your body with the nutrition it needs to sustain you in what we do. And a secondary aspect of that is you do live a healthier life. I've had plenty of clients that have come in pre-diabetic conditions and said that they needed to make life changes and lifestyle changes, and they've done exactly that.
Okay, we're going to take a break and we're going to continue our conversation about CrossFit. I think you're getting a better picture of what it is and how it could help you either lose weight or gain weight. We're going to find out about that. How do you, because it's easy, to me it's easy to gain weight, but for some people, their metabolism is not set up to where they can gain weight. But we'll continue our conversation about CrossFit 1075. We'll do that when we come back. Don't go away.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Welcome back to Perspective on Florida Gateway College Television and WCJX and WQHL Radio. We appreciate the listeners on those radio stations in our community as well. We're talking about CrossFit, and Summer, you mentioned that some people like to gain weight. How do you gain weight by doing this type of exercise? Seems like you would be burning calories versus putting calories on, or is the diet aspect part of that?
Well, diet aspect is definitely part of it, but so muscle weighs more than fat, and when we do weightlifting, a lot of the things that we do incorporate building mass, and so it's not that you're doing a single movement that's going to build a particular muscle, but we're building muscle all over your body. I know that when I started CrossFit, I gained 15 pounds, and it was muscle.
And ladies don't like to gain weight.
It's a hard pill to swallow.
How do you subconsciously? How do you get right with that? To the point. I mean, because you're obviously not big. You're just fit.
The pros definitely outweigh the cons. I was fit in a different way before I started CrossFit, and I had a different perspective about it. But you feel better, you sleep better, you have just a better sense of well-being, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, sounds great. Now, Jason, are you following the diet as well? Is there? And you don't. You're smiling at me like I'm not picking on you, but is there something to diet that is different? I mean, when you're spent, I mean, you prepare something. You eat carbs before you do this workout, or?
I have the same diet. I eat whatever I want to. I mean, I try to eat healthy, but I eat whatever I want to.
What about you, Paul?
There is a direct connection. I was wondering why I wasn't losing weight or losing body fat, and it wasn't until I changed my diet that I actually saw a change in my body.
Now, what are you eating more of now than you did before?
Protein, less sugars, less carbs. So try to watch my intake, especially as you get older, your metabolism slows down. So,
Yeah, you start seeing things that weren't there, last year. Like, oh, where did this come from?
Right.
What about sodas? Were sodas a part of what you did before?
Not necessarily, but I think where the class is very structured, your eating, you have to be very disciplined on that. 'Cause you go to a class and they tell you step by step what to do. The coach is there monitoring your activities, make sure you're lifting right. But eating, you have to basically take that on yourself and do the research and educate yourself.
Now, Summer, what foods are better doing this? I mean, when I was talking to Jason about carbs, you would think you'd need a little more energy because it seems like this is more rigorous than just going from station to station of a workout with weights.
Well, you want to feed your body things that your body is going to be able to process and get nutrients from. So processed foods is definitely something that you cut out. There's good carbs and bad carbs, and everybody has an opinion on those, but the truth is, if you're eating whole foods, if you're eating things in their most natural state, obviously potatoes out of a bag that have been fried are not the same as eating something that comes from its more natural state and it's healthier for you. And you need to be having well balanced. Having fats in your diet is definitely important. I think a lot of people have a misconception about fat and being healthy, and just eating clean, making sure that you're fueling your body with something that is going to benefit it, not harm it.
Now, when you say clean, what is that? Now, you mentioned processed foods, and I guess we're talking about stuff in a can,
Right.
that's been processed, or like, say, everybody's favorite Cheez-Its are kind of processed, right?
Very much so.
And those, while they may taste good, they're not doing anything for you. The body has trouble breaking that down.
It's full of chemicals. So the rule of thumb, if you shop around the perimeter of the grocery store, you have your produce, you have your dairy, you have your meats, things that it takes preparation. If there's an expiration date on it, it's probably not meant to be in your body.
Okay, so that's a good rule to follow. When you look and when you walk into, say, I shop at Winn-Dixie, and I look, the produce is over here. Now they do have a bakery, and then they have the fish market, and they have and then the dairy, and of course the beer is over there as well. So, but no, Jason, you say you eat whatever you want. Have you seen a difference in your body weight and with muscle on this program?
Not as far as
free weights.
Not as far as the weight, but I feel different with the way my clothes fit. As far as a number, I don't really care about a weight number. So yes, I feel better. Like my clothes fit better. They're not as tight, and I can see a difference in my body. I'm seeing a difference.
Now, you mentioned that you were a wrestler. You think this program would be good in sports in the high school?
Definitely.
Why do you say that?
Because of the wide variety you have. You've got the weightlifting, you've got the cardio, you've got the gymnastics, which was a different thing for me, and just learning these new movements, and I think it makes you an all-around better athlete.
Now, Paul, did you ever do I'm not going to say the parallel bars, but the ropes that they do? I know, being in the military, you did some rope training.
Yes, sir.
But what about the gymnastics aspect of this?
No, not necessarily. I mean, you do the monkey bars, and like you said, the rope, and when you go through an obstacle course. But I mean, as far as training on it on a weekly or daily basis, no. The Army has actually just adapted a lot of the movements that CrossFit uses for their new PT test. So
now, when you first started this, were you kind of skeptical that this would be something that would work for you? I mean, because when you reach a certain age, there's certain things that you just don't do anymore. But
right.
You seem to have adapted, even your age, doing.
Well, I had hesitation, obviously, that I would be able to go out there and perform like some of the other athletes. But as Summer was saying earlier, every exercise is scaled. So you have a beginner or entry level movement for that exercise, and you can build up to what they call RX, or the prescribed exercise for that movement or exercise.
Now, Summer, as an instructor in this, how do you measure someone that may, you know, like we've got two young guys here that 19 and 19, I think they are, but how do you say, all right, this is where you need to be? Are there some things that you put them through, some tests to see what their agility is and what they're capable of handling?
Well, any new person coming into the box, and all of our coaches are trained to do the same, is to ask a series of questions, get a feel for where their activity level is currently, because everybody's going to present with a different level of skills no matter what their activity level is, but it's good to know where they're at, and then you can you watch, you know, you make sure that you give them something that is accomplishable, and then if that seems to be too easy for them, then you can give them something a little bit harder. It's really about observation and evaluation of your athlete.
How much of this is choreography of a dance type thing? Is there any part of it that is that way?
I mean, it's programmed, so obviously the workouts, when they're put together in a way that should elicit the greatest response. You know, you're stimulating your muscles and you're varying that stimulus. So I guess it's choreographed, if you will.
Jason, you know, when you lay off for a while and you come back, you're really sore. When you first started this program, what was the feeling? You mentioned that you were exhausted after this workout, but were you sore? I mean, what was it? A different muscle group? You obviously, you know, when you do lats, you know, the back of your muscle is going to be sore. If you do biceps, the front of your muscle is going to be sore. But how is it different? A different ache? I mean, and don't get me wrong, it's a good feeling. Yeah. When you're sore after a workout, it means you've accomplished something.
It's probably the same kind of sore, but afterwards, after every workout, we stretch, we roll out, we take the rollers and we roll out, and our instructors are real good at helping us with afterwards our mobility and stretching out the muscle groups that we've worked. So probably the same kind of soreness, not a different kind of soreness. I guess being sore muscles are a sore muscle, no matter what kind of workout you're doing. But just the fact that we get to take that time to cool down and you know, roll out, like you said, lats. If we were working our lats, roll out our lat muscles that day, and the instructors help us with it, show us the technique to do it. So maybe it's a soreness, but it's not quite as sore because you're, I guess, working that acid off that you built up. And but sore is being good. Yeah, I know I've done something if I'm sore.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, any athlete or anybody who's lifted weights over the years knows that there's going to come, you know, with a new muscle group or some new exercise is going to cause a little bit of soreness, but that's just because your muscle's expanding. Now, Paul, tell me about stretching. Now, again, the older you get, the more you're stiff. You know, you get up out of a chair and you're like, oh, you know, that didn't feel good. How much of stretching is?
I think that's the best thing about CrossFit is you're preparing your body for whatever exercise you're going to execute, and we focus on that muscle group or that portion of your body that you're going to be utilizing for that exercise that day, and it really, you know, keeps you from potential injury or any damage in any part of your body.
Now, what age? What's the maximum age, or is there a maximum age, Summer, on being a participant in this?
There is no maximum age. I've taught everybody from 5 years old to 93.
93?
93.
And so were they able to, I mean, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I mean, how does a 93-year-old keep up with, I mean, are they with the group, or how does that work?
So it's universally scalable. His goals obviously were different than other people's. At 93, this gentleman wanted to be independent and wanted to continue to go grocery shopping and taking care of himself. So we did the same things that we do in any other class. We just modified those movements to his skill set and his ability, and made it so that he could continue to be functional.
Now, guys, I'm going to ask you this because you do it all the time, but is this a way to keep your mind sharp? Do you feel like you're, not that there's a brain exercise that's part of this, but do you find that there's better blood flow maybe to your brain that's helping you stay sharp, or maybe I'm just drawing at straws? Jason?
I believe that there is.
You seem like, I guess, Paul, you said you were getting more sleep. You're able to sleep well. That's got to be part of all this whole equation.
Yes, sir. I sleep better. I just feel better throughout the day. Just walking around, just having a normal day, I feel better inside. And I know that it's from doing CrossFit. I wasn't feeling that way before I was doing it, and now I can tell the difference in just my overall health and attitude, and my rest. I rest a lot better. So, yeah, it's definitely changed my life.
Paul, I'm going to ask you a question about family. Did they see a difference in you? I mean, when you started this program?
Oh, yes. My son actually gave my wife, who goes with, we go together to the CrossFit gym, a 1-month membership. He's a coach at another box, and gave it to her for Mother's Day. And all three of us have been doing CrossFit for about 3 or 4 years now.
You feel sharper?
Oh yeah, I deal with high stress, fast-paced environment where I work, and it helps me cope and be able to think clear, as Jason was saying.
Keeping you on your game.
Yeah.
We're going to take our last break, and when we come back, we'll tell you how you can participate in CrossFit and find a gym near you. We'll do that when we come back.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to Perspective on Florida Gateway College Television. We're talking about CrossFit with Summer Howell, Jason Langston, and Paul Allen. They're all part of the CrossFit 1075 here in Lake City, which these type of gyms are popping up all over the place. You mentioned your son teaches at another box, as you like to say. But Summer, should someone who's not done this at all maybe see a physician first, or find out whether they're capable of doing a rigorous exercise? Because, I mean, some people that may be under a doctor's care maybe need to check to make sure that this is right for them.
Well, if you have any kind of pre-existing condition that you have concern with, I always recommend see your physician and ask them. Part of my job is to make sure that I ask those questions too, so that when you get into the box, that we're treating you appropriately, that we're making sure that your care is handled, so that if you do have something, we're aware of it. If you have a problem or an injury, we can work around that and make sure we don't do anything to aggravate that.
All right, if you needed more information about this CrossFit, you can talk to CrossFit 1075. They're located on Waterford Court, Suite 106. Where is that? Where would I find?
We're right across from the middle school in Midtown Center.
Okay, so the Lake City Middle School. Summer or Luke Sparks at CrossFit1075.com, or Summer at CrossFit1075.com. You can contact them. And again, I would recommend that if you're under a physician's care, and you might want to tell him or her that you're going to go with this CrossFit, and they may say, go for it, or hey, these are some limitations that you have that you need to be aware of before you start this program. Thank you all for shedding a little bit of light on what CrossFit is, and hope you learned something today on Perspective. Until next time, I'm Mike McKee. Have a good night.